Ceramics for 5th grade. This is a lesson we do every year away from the Halloween month because we do masks. Now, 2020 and 2021 has started off rather oddly in that we are all currently wearing masks all the time. So I'm going to show you this mask lesson, but I do not necessarily need you to think about or to create an actual mask. You can also use this same slab construction technique to create something like a fish. When you work in clay, and you have worked in clay, so far this actual kiln-fired clay, since 2nd grade, there are a few rules that should be followed. And that first rule that we always make sure to do is we want to make sure to make nothing that is a solid, thick chunk of clay. Because solid, thick chunks of clay do tend to have issues when it's time to start firing them. We can have things that are too wet on the inside and, and dry on the outside, and then they will pop apart when they're in the kiln because that water expands inside the clay when it is not completely dried. Since we're making something that's a slab construction, or we're going to roll it out like a pancake, we don't have that many concerns about making things that are solid, because really this is not going to be very solid if you roll it out at all. It's not going to be any thicker than what a waffle would be. So we're not going to worry about that so much. The other rule, always have to do rule of ceramics, is you always have to connect your pieces correctly. And that technique that we do is called the zipper. Remember, we talk about it where you make scratch marks on both sides of your pieces of clay and you smoosh them together so that those teeth will really grab onto each other. That's how you make sure that none of these pieces that you're going to make for your mask or fish are going to fall off. So I've pressed down my clay a little bit with my hand, and now I'm going to start rolling it out with my rolling pin. And as you can see, I'm going to keep picking it up and turning it in different directions just to make sure that while that paper doesn't absorb all my water, it doesn't actually stick to the paper, because once it sticks, it's very hard to get it off. I'm going to do a tiny miniature version here because my video filming area is very small, but it will be fine for ideas for you to get started. When I'm talking about masks, I'm not necessarily talking about the mask that's covering your nose and your mouth. I'm talking about a mask that was used in different cultures. I'm going to show you some images here during the video so you can see what different cultures have done as far as masks go. And they're used for many different things. We think of masks as something used at Halloween, either to scare people or to hide your face so that the neighbors don't know that you've come back to get candy for the 4th time in a row because you've worn 4 different masks. Our mask is going to start with a basic shape. So if I decide that I'm going to make just a regular old round mask that's going to cover my whole face, remember, I'm working smaller than you are, so this won't actually cover my face. But you can use a larger piece of clay when you get started. And now I start thinking about what I want the surface of the clay to look like. There are different tools available for you to make the surface of your clay a little bit more interesting. And I have regular old carving tools, and there are some stencils and mats and other texture tools back at the sink that you'll find, and you will lay those on top of the clay and then pull them off and you'll see the surface. Ooh, I pressed that a little harder. I'm going to roll that into the surface and pull it off, and you'll see it creates an interesting little design and texture. These are some of the things that you should think about before you get started in actually carving any of your details, because it's hard to make that design if you've already carved and created a nose or eyes or mouth. Let's use that design. I can also use this to make things like scales. So let's say I want to make like fish scales down the side of my project. We'll do that on both sides. There we go. We went all the way around. There are 2 ways to make eyes. You can, of course, cut the eye shape out of your mask. If I cut that eye shape out, then I would be able to look through it if I hold it up to my face. Or I can take an eye and I can create it and I can attach it using that zipper method. So let's say I'm going to make another piece here for the pupil. Let's take a pencil. And we're going to use our zipper method to attach these. The zipper method, again, is tiny scratch marks where you want the pieces to connect. You're going to use the smallest little drop of water just to make that connection happen a little more carefully, and then I'm going to press things down in place. So I'm going to do the same thing for the back, this larger piece. And you can use any of your tools. It doesn't matter what tool you have. Don't think that you can only use the tool that I pick up. I've got whatever is laying around here at the front of the room. You can use whatever's found at your desk. Your table hopper will get different materials each time. Tiny little bit of water, tiny little bit of water, and we're going to attach that. Now I have a nice eyeball. You can always carve in designs, as we were talking about our details earlier. You can press things up from the bottom. So if I want to make a nose here and make it look like a nose actually looks on a human, I could take my fingers and press that up. See how I'm just pressing up from the back? Maybe I'll give him some nostrils. There you go. So now he has a nose. And a mouth, again, you can carve in or add on, but there's my wonderful mouth. And last but not least, let's think about attaching extra materials. So when you look at all the examples of all the different kinds of masks from different cultures, you're going to see that a lot of them are made out of supplies that are not always only clay. You will have things that have, fiber or yarn or burlap or metal or just about anything you can think of attached to the surface of the clay. And you have to plan ahead for those attachments. So let's say I decide I want this guy to have some sort of yarn for his hair. Well, I don't want to just glue it on there because it's not very interesting that way. I want to be able to tie it in place so it won't fall off. I cannot add it until this has been fired, because if you remember, when these guys are baked in our kiln, that's the big toaster that's used to fire ceramics, they fire at 2,000 degrees. So this yarn would be a goner. We cannot add that until it's absolutely finished being, all of the firing steps are finished. I'm going to need to make some holes ahead of time so that I know where I'm going to tie that yarn in for his hair. If I just take my pencil and I just press down, you can see that those holes don't go all the way through to the back. So when you're adding your holes, you want to make sure that you give that pencil a little twist, you give that tool a little twist, make sure that they go all the way through front to back. And make them just a smidge larger than you think you might need. Clay does shrink a little bit when it is baked, and you want to make sure that you don't, have holes that are too small. You can't get anything inside. That kind of defeats the purpose of making the holes in the first place. The last thing I want to think about is the surface of the mask and how well it's going to fit on a face. They're a little too heavy to actually tie a string to and try to actually wear them. But you still would like to see, for some of you, you'd like to see that mask kind of molded to the shape of a face. Well, I have something for you to help you make that molded shape happen. This is just a styrofoam mask, and you don't want to put your clay right onto the styrofoam, because the styrofoam will grab a hold of the clay and it will not come off, and that's a bad day for all of us. I am going, however, to take my ceramic mask and take this little form and put it inside a plastic bag. Then I can take my mask and I can lay it on top of that form, and instead of trying to get it to look exactly like the styrofoam, I can just use that styrofoam to help me drape that mask and get it to dry in the right space. So I want this to be curved around the face, but I want the edges to come up a little bit so that you can see where I have the hair all tied on. Let's bend it the exact place I want it to be bent, the exact shape I want it to be when it comes out of the kiln, and then it's going to dry, and I don't have to worry about it making that, losing its curves and losing its bumps or getting all flat. It's going to stay just how I want it to stay. Now, at the end of class, you might still be in the working stages of most of this, so how are we going to clean it up? Well, I'm going to leave my styrofoam in the plastic bag, and I'm going to get a new piece of plastic bag, and I'm going to slide that right inside, everything all together. These plastic zippy bags don't zippy so much anymore. If you can get yours closed, that's great. Most of the time they just don't cooperate anymore. So all I really need you to do is to make sure that when you put it in the box, you're going to cover the opening by pressing it underneath. You're going to add a piece of tape to the very top, and you're going to write your name. If there is already a name on the bag and you try to tear it off, you will probably put a hole in the bag. So as you can see here, we just have an extra person. They just put a new piece of tape right on the top. That is storing and cleaning up for the end of the day for 5th grade mask making. If you've got any questions, you can always ask your friendly neighborhood art teacher. And now that I've told you all the ways to make a mask that looks like a human, I should also add in, this doesn't necessarily have to look like a human. You can make an animal, you can make an alien, or you can make something that would be an other. I don't know what an other is. You're going to have to tell me. All right, let's get started in ceramics for 5th grade.